this morning, you live in a prosperous universe. What about this one, if you can say this word this early? You live in a regenerative universe. An enlivening universe. And to make it even more fun and interesting to think about, the enlivening universe lives within us. Well, Jesus said it. He said, the enlivening universe lives in you. Did he say that? Yeah. He said what? The kingdom of heaven. The creative, regenerative universe lives in you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. That's the way Jesus said it. But I have his permission to paraphrase. We are working today with this idea of letting ourselves open our hearts and minds to this divine idea that we do live in a generous, prosperous universe beyond all appearances. And in order for that to happen, we need to do what our daily word invites us to do, to be flexible. This may not be true for you, but for me, at times, I am rather inflexible.
No.
I am living into this affirmation today. I embrace change with poise and flexibility. Right? Let's all do it again. I embrace change with poise and flexibility. Absolutely. I'm affirming that. That's what I'm practicing. Because a lot of us sometimes talk ourselves out of this divine idea that we do live in a generous universe. And we will resist all the many blessings and opportunities for awakening that come to us. We will resist them sometimes because they are not couched in the shape or form that we thought they should be. And so we call headquarters and we say, yeah, what's up with that? So I would like to tell you the story of the miracle bolt. Have you ever heard the story of the miracle bolt? No. Yes, you have. Some of you have. But we're going to tell it again for all of those who don't remember. So years ago, in the way back in my other life, I was in an RV with my former husband, and we were headed to our next church, our next speaking engagement. We were headed towards Apalachicola. And we're in the RV, and we passed this man who at that time looked very old. I imagine he's about my age now. He looked very old and very dirty and very disheveled. He looked like a street person sometimes looks. And he was on the side of the road doing this, which is the universal symbol for, can you give me a ride? And so our first response was, not a chance. We don't pick up hitchhikers. Do you ever have a rule, a regulation that, by golly, we don't do that? Well, our rule was, we don't pick up hitchhikers. But my soul had another idea. And so I said to my husband, stop. This man needs a ride. And his response was, we don't pick up hitchhikers. I said, but there's something about this time. This is for us to do. So we stopped, and he walked up to the RV. We opened the door, and before he ever got in, I could smell him. So my judgments were really rocking and rolling. Because I was ready to invite him in and take him up the road. So where are you going? He said he's going up to Carabel, for those of you who know that part of the Panhandle, 10 miles up the road. And my hesitation, I'm not proud to say it, I did hesitate before I invited this odor into my clean RV. Sometimes God shows up like a dirty, disheveled man on the side of the road. So we opened the door, he got in, and I made him a sandwich. As we're going up the road, we gave him a cold glass of water. We had a nice visit. It turns out he used to be an itinerant minister back in the day. They called him itinerant preacher. So we had lots of things to talk about, lots of miracle stories to talk about. He even prayed with us because we were on a workshop tour. We were headed to the next church. He prayed with us. All the while, I'm sorry, I was gagging a bit from the odor. And so, came time to let him out of the RV. And He thanks us, and as he's getting out, he turns to us and he says, "You might need this up the road." It was a big old bolt. A kind of a bolt that I've never seen before, not one that we use to pull our Subaru, but he gave us the bolt, and I'm thinking, bless his heart, he's lost his mind. He gave us the bolt, and he made a big deal. "You may need this up the road. You need to hold on to this." "Okay, got it. Thank you so much." And he got out, and we went on our way. And about 10 miles up the road, I happened to turn my head a little bit with my peripheral vision. I saw our Subaru not tracking straight behind, but turn sideways, pulling behind the RV. I said, "Uh-oh, that's not right." And so we stopped the RV and we went back there, and one of our bolts had come out. Not the kind of bolt that he gave us, by the way. But our bolt, the kind we used, had come out. And so our Subaru was no longer connected properly. But we just happened to have a bolt. Now, I've called him my angel all these years. I don't know if he was literally an angel. You know, sometimes God shows up in ways that are hard for us to accept. Whether you call them angels, earth angels, heavenly angels. What are the odds that he shows up and gives us a bolt? Now, how many of you have stories, similar stories, that you cannot explain? It doesn't make sense. Dots got connected, synchronicities. Now, this is one little story about one little bolt that we needed. And this is a simple story that, for me, expresses the reality of what a generous, prosperous universe we live in. And if we're paying attention, it's happening all the time. But I could have easily talked myself out of opening that RV door because God showed up in a way that my judgments were cranking through. I know none of you have judgments, but I can share some of mine with you. We might have missed the opportunity to be entertained by angels unawares, because it didn't look the way we thought it was supposed to. But generous universe, prosperous universe, is cranking through all the time if we can pay attention to it. So Hafiz, one of my favorite guys, he has an image that he uses in one of his poems. And it's entitled, "Cupping My Hands Like a Mountain Valley." So I found a mountain valley photo for us to use as we think about these words. Oh, sorry, Lester, I got out of range. Okay. You can't be trusted. Okay, am I back in range?
I'm not going to worry about
it. So, cupping my hands like a mountain valley. Listen to the words. Like the way the valleys of the earth cup their hands for light and drink. Like the way the desert opens up its sweet mouth and laughs when someone melts pearls in the sky and rain comes. Rain returns like a divine lover with 100 wonderful gifts. Oh, the words from the true teacher bring my mind and cells such sacred nourishment and life. When the mood is full, it gets gregarious and likes to chat. I have heard it say, look what can happen when you lean your graceful arms toward God in prayer. Look what can happen when we lean our consciousness towards one source. Look what can happen when we lean our prayers, our thoughts, our feelings towards this idea that we live in a generous universe. Often we are entertaining other kinds of thoughts, that we live in a universe of limitation, that life is happening to us rather than through us. Sometimes we look at the world as a foe, something we need to protect ourselves against. Am I saying it right? Mm-hmm. So it's a whole other divine idea, a whole other level of thinking that we live in a generous, prosperous universe that is constantly matching with source energy what we most need. That's another kind of level of living and thinking. I don't know who I'm pointing that finger at. That's another kind of level of feeling and thinking about our safety in the world. This is the way Teilhard de Chardin said it, and then Eric Butterworth picked it up. And I thought it was fun to use this word today because we might be hearing this. So this is another way to use the word, that we live in an unimpeachable wholeness of the universe. So let's think about that. It's not a feeling we're raised to have. We're raised to protect ourselves, take care of ourselves, all for good reason. I'm not saying that's wrong. But sometimes we miss out in our education this idea that we are living in a universe that is absolutely for our good and for our wholeness. And here's the deal. We're encoded for wholeness. We have a blueprint for wholeness within our DNA, within our very being. But we are so adorable, we will try to talk ourselves out of that and believe something else. So, Ruby says, when you do things from the soul, look at the horse running through. Can y'all see him? I have fun with Google images. If I ever go missing, go to wherever my laptop is because I'm playing with Google images. So Ruby said, when you do things from the soul, you feel a river moving through you, a joy. Or if you don't use the word joy, it might be an undercurrent of life energy. Have you ever had that feeling that, whoa, where's all this energy coming from? And it's especially interesting when you're dog-tired, you dropped and you can't get up, and suddenly somebody calls. Somebody you're so excited about seeing, we're coming by. Oh, you get up, you clean the house, you make things nice, you get all this energy. Or you're dragging around like you're a limp noodle, and you get an email. I'm going to pay your way to St. Martin. And suddenly you have energy. See, it's all filtering through our perceptions, our perspective. So, when you do things from the soul, you feel this river moving through you, a kind of joy, but we can have other words, a kind of peace. A kind of awareness that all is well. All is well, even beyond the wackiness of the world. You have this current running through you. You have something that's unexplainable. Jesus said it's the peace that passes all understanding. That's what we have running through us when we're operating from the soul. So now, take a deep breath. The word joyous was put into this vision for our new unit location. Now, have you noticed that they, and you know, they know what they're talking about, they say that there are 4 main stressors in the world. Things like divorce and loss of fortune, loss of health, loss of a loved one. And one of the highest stressors, besides going to the dentist, is building or refurbing a house. Have you ever heard this? Mm-hmm. Even buying a house can be stressful, but building or refurbing a house is one of the biggest stressors. So I have a confession to make to you, and it stays in this one. With this capital campaign and the search for our new Unity location, I have a voice inside my head, or one of the voices in my head says, oh, this is going to be hard. Oh, this is going to take a lot of energy. There's going to be so many details to manage. And then I take a deep breath, because there's a bigger voice. Shall I share with you what the bigger voice says? Mm-hmm. That at this time in my life, This is going to be one of the most important projects of my whole life. Now, I wasn't expecting that. Not at 68. Come on. And most of us in this room have had that thought probably, what am I doing connected with this at my age? And I want to counter that with, why would you not be thinking of it at this age, at this time, at this juncture in human history, at this place in the world of global events? This is the time to embrace some of the most important projects that you've ever been a part of. And for some of us in this room, this will be one of them. So, this vision says, we are so joyous and grateful for our new Unity home. If we're feeling anything other than joyous and grateful, please go back to the prayer closet and get in touch with that joyous and grateful. We want to unfold this vision in the grace of joy and gratitude. And if we have anything else going on, then I have to do my personal work, and so do you. Because this is going to be one of the most important projects this community is ever called to. It's going to be a center like Myrtle Beach has never seen before. It's going to be something significantly powerful that we don't even know all the details of yet. So I've got a bigger voice going on in me, but I acknowledge, for me and all of us, we're going to have those moments of oy vey. It's a Jewish voice. It says, uh-oh. Oy vey. It's sort of like getting pregnant, and you have this excitement, and then at some point you go, uh-oh. Right? So when Jesus, they say, was crucified and then resurrected, and a few people saw him after the resurrection. You know this. They saw him walking, he talked, he walked and talked with a few of the disciples. He sat down and shared a meal with some of the disciples, and then he was gone again. See, when the divine light is shining all around, it's great and good and easy to catch hold of the vision. But when that original excitement has faded and you get into the nuts and bolts and the details, that's when your Yiddish comes forward. Oy vey. So we want to keep the joyous and the grateful in the mix. Is that okay? Yeah. Everybody say amen to that. Amen. So, in the book of John, it's reported that Jesus said this, I am telling you the truth. Whoever believes in me will do what I do, will even do greater things. Now that's a promise. And that boat I lived on for 2 years was named The Promise, and there was a brass plaque on the boat with this scripture. I am telling you the truth, he said. If you believe on me, now let's define me. Paula?
Well, actually, it's the Christ consciousness.
It's the Christ consciousness. So let's define me. Whoever believes in this consciousness, in this example that I've shown you, in this expression of spirit, in this outpicturing of the kingdom of heaven, whoever believes in this is going to do what I did in greater things. Anybody else want to define me? See, it works when you believe in the man Jesus who exampled Christ consciousness, but it also works even if you simply believe in the consciousness. You might be a follower of the Buddha. You might be a follower of Krishna, Mayor Baba. As long as you have this consciousness of awakening happening and rolling around in you, this is true for you. This is what we want. This is the consciousness that we want to be tapping into when we feel we're being called to something significantly important, pertinent, transformative. We want to plug in to the consciousness that Jesus talked about, that he exampled, and that other great masters and teachers have exampled. Why would that be true?
Comes with the responsibility of realizing that we are God.
So, what you're saying, Catherine, is that it's up to us to open our hearts and minds like that valley, cupping our hearts and minds to receive the Spirit, the one present. You're saying that we have the ability to open up to the same consciousness that the great masters have and have had, to example even greater things than Jesus did on the planet. Is that what you're suggesting, Catherine? Holy smokes! So what you're suggesting is that we too have the consciousness of potential masters, of potential Christed beings in the world. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Bunch of heretics? How many of you know it's good to be a heretic? That's good. So we're back to the manatee. And I loved that Nancy Page opened us with a meditation and the breathing in through the mouth, in through the nose and out through the mouth. We had that sound. She didn't know that I was going to talk about the manatee this morning. So how does spirit come around you? How does spirit make itself known to you? Are you a dreamer of dreams? Are you a visionary? Are you intuitive? Are you a healing presence? Are you a transformative presence? Are you one who can speak a word of faith when somebody most needs it? A word of healing when somebody most needs it? Are you someone who can touch with a consciousness of healing when somebody most needs it? And the answer to all those questions is yes. Because it's important that we remember that we're living in such a generous, supportive universe. And universe flows through us. So in order to receive and be informed by source energy, we have to accept our relationship with source energy. It's like being in a relationship, you have a whole wedding ceremony, and then you go your separate ways. That's not the way it works usually. When you're in relationship with source energy, you listen to source energy. You become intimate with source energy. You feel the one presence in every aspect of your life, even the moments when it feels so hard. The generosity of the universe comes in and fills us and fills the situation. The informing of spirit in every situation, even when we're with our beloveds who are in trouble in some way, our own lives, those who are in their dying time, those who are in their being born time, those who've lost hope, those who can't see their way out of this crazy world, that can't see how we're going to get out of this one. You become the presence that says, we live in a generous universe and all the solutions are with us already and within us. Pay attention. Listen to the soft whisperings. Feel the soft whispering. In my experience, it usually doesn't happen with the sky lighting up and the angels' trumpets sounding. It usually happens in the still quietude. So close your eyes with me, please, and take a deep breath. And so today we open our hearts and our minds to this divine idea that we live in the most generous, prospering, healing, rejuvenating universe.
There's a reason why Jesus said the river of life flows within you. We give thanks for remembering that we are encoded for wholeness. We have a blueprint for wholeness. And universe is matching at the point of every need of our lives, of our human family, of the conditions of the world. Let not your heart be troubled. Neither let it be dismayed, for I am with you, even to the end of the world. This consciousness is with us as the world morphs and changes, as awakening happens. This consciousness is with us non-stop. So we give ourselves over to open hearts, open minds, being that cup into which that universal energy flows. Give ourselves over to that. The generous universe is so ready to pour blessings out upon us and through us and around us in every moment. And if it feels good for you, I invite you to say, yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
That's an advanced way to say amen. Okay. Y'all give yourself a big hand because you just passed the test. I didn't see one resistant cloud over one head that said, Pasha, Pasha. I didn't see one of those. Y'all, we're going to do another song in a moment. We're going to receive our offering. It's an important offering because it goes to bless this church community. Next Sunday, please remember, is May 7th. It's our Intention Sunday. If you did not get one of these in the mail, if you want a capital campaign brochure, it has lovely photos, but the words are also very important. A lot of work went into this. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Linda. Thank you to everybody who put this together. If you did not get one, Linda, are you in the house? Yes, Linda. We can get you one downstairs. Please see Linda because we want you holding the vision and holding